Nature's grace and beauty shifts and changes with each season. The dying leaves of autumn cover the earth as the starkness of winter's trees become buried by a blanket of snow and ice. But the warming light of spring opens herself up to the budding birth of nature's exquisite flowering, bursting into the heat of summer's ripe harvest. The circle of life and death into life again spins round and round, reminding us of our own changing cycles woven into this life. From the infancy of birth to the rich fullness gathered before death, transitioning to another form of life as we shed our body leaf and spring forth into a new budding expression. We are gathered here to lovingly join in a brief farewell honoring Bonnie Armstrong. And I invite each and every one of you to take this opportunity to reflect upon your own personal relationship with her, bringing to mind those thoughts that make you smile and rejoice in her unique contribution upon this earth plane, honoring her now in this moment by setting aside natural feelings of pain, loss, and grief that we do feel inside, and knowing how much she would like us to feel the connection we all have to each other and to this glorious, wondrous life, and to the continuum of our soul's expression, whatever form it may take. Please take a moment now to touch her spirit with yours as you listen to the words she wrote for you to hear today. I have no fear of death, for my soul lives on after this little me is gone. I grip the corners of my beliefs. I feel the earth beneath my feet and touch the hearts of those I love in silent reverence. For those sweet ones I leave behind, trust that I carry you in the fullness of this heart of mine. Weep not for me, sweet lovers, all are we, joined together in the body of the one who sets us free. There's no ache inside of me. The gentle longing that stirred so fervently lies within the ashes spread upon the deep blue sea. So please, I entreat thee, dance and sing. Make this moment an offering, a gift of joy, of love, and fond remembering. For I am here beside you, like a gentle breeze. I kiss your cheek, I tousle your hair, and lift your spirits with the warm breath of summer's playful air. I twinkle in the starlight. I tumble on an ocean wave. I'm a glint of golden sunshine, or a drop of rain waiting on a cloudy day. I shall love you always, like the rolling crash of thunder or the gentle smile on a baby's face. So please, just feel this moment and be one with me as I soar and lift above the trees, reaching higher and higher, for I am free. Let's just take a moment to do that. As you all may or may not know, Bonnie absolutely loved nature. Its exquisite contours, each season's unique offering, and the great ever-changing colors and texture of its pure beauty. Nature was the place where Bonnie first experienced God. As a child, perched high up in a maple tree, looking out upon her world, she made up songs in her head and sang them to her fellow mates, which were the birds. Words were her way of painting pictures with a pen, weaving the strands of life's contours into poetic patterns and subtly exposing the inner mysteries of her own depth of feelings into free verse. Poetry found its natural course through her. Journaling consoled and illuminated her as words danced in her head, always. She often said, "My dictionary is like a Bible, and I keep one always close at hand." Writing was an impetus for Bonnie to dig deep within herself, to uncover and reveal long-buried feelings. Her writing was akin to therapy, a way of searching through the rubble of life and exposing it to allow a healing to take place. All through her life, she used this instrument of expression, which became one of her greatest creative gifts. At this time in the service, I would like to ask that anyone in the audience who would like to come up and say a few words, or tell a brief story, or share a little anecdote about Bonnie, to please come on up right now, if you feel moved.
If you feel so inclined, place your hand on your heart, and the other hand, left or right, whichever is comfortable for you, open palm into the universe. And feel Bonnie, her spirit soaring, her happy smile, her wings fluttering in the wind. Blessed be your soul. And you will always be with us in our hearts and our thoughts and our memories. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the love. Blessed be.
Blessed.
Could I ask you to say your name first, too, please?
Susan White.
I was just going to say, that's
Bonnie and
Susan
I were
White.
partners for a few years, and they were good years, and her girls were, we all lived together with my son, and there was lots of stuff going on, but we had a good time, and I loved her very much.
And Susan was one of our powerful teachers in the practitioner's house.
Thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Vivian Strand. My first real personal memory of Bonnie was in 1979. And I remember that because our son was 17 and had just gotten his driver's license. He called us, this is before cell phones, and said, "I've had an accident." And I said, "Okay, where are you? We'll come get you. We'll take care of it." He said, "I called the police and somebody's on their way." Jim and I drove up to Montgomery in Mission, where my son said somebody drove me off the road into this parked car. And when we got there, there was my son walking down the sidewalk, and Bonnie had her arm around him in her dark blue police outfit, uniform. And I said to Jim, "We know her from church, but I never really experienced her personally." She made a rather unfortunate event so kind and so sweet, and took care of my son so that he was okay. Now, several years later, when I was becoming a practitioner, I had had Bonnie as my personal practitioner for a time, and loved her so dearly, and she was just so right on that I asked her to be my mentor. And so for over a year we met real regularly and prayed together, and the beauty of her smile, her kindness, her generous spirit, that's what I hold dear in my heart.
My name is Carol, and when I met Jackie, I was 15 years old. At that time, her sister Bonnie was in Chicago in the VISTA program, and as a 15-year-old, I couldn't even imagine what that was like as a young woman to go there on her own and do that work. And having not met her yet, I just admired her so much, and I would just want to get every story that Jackie had about that. And as the years went on, I was able to meet Bonnie, and I continued in my respect and admiration for her, and we had many great conversations over the years. And I don't have a sister, so she was always my second family's big, my big sister, my second family. So, but I will always remember Bonnie's loving spirit and her great smile whenever we would meet. I just would rejoice in that. So.
So does everybody have about an hour or so? I've got a lot of stories. I'm sorry. When I see her nudge me, I'll be out. But I just want to, my memories of Bonnie are so strong in our childhood. I'm the oldest of four, and Bonnie being the second. And second born, and one story I do want to share with you. We were living in a town, Fredonia, New York, small town near Lake Erie, upstate New York. And we lived on a 2.5 acre plot of land. It was kind of had a barn and a chicken coop. And there was a main highway that came by our house that went into town. And we had tons of fruit. And my father had quite a garden going, pumpkins, all kinds of things. But the strawberries were big. And so Bonnie and I would sit on the side of the road in the strawberries. And my sister, for a brother, I always thought she was so beautiful. She was literally like Shirley Temple. Beautiful hair, big brown eyes, kind of like her daughters have there. And she was just sweet. And I remember we're sitting there, and she's eating all the strawberries. I mean, she's just helping herself, and her face, her lips are all red. And this guy, we actually sold quite a bit of strawberries, and this guy goes, trying to be smart, and he stops his car and he goes, "Well, are those good strawberries you've got there, young man?" And I went, "Look at her. She seems to like it." She's just not paying any attention. She's just in those strawberries. And that memory I've shared with family members, but I'll never forget that. And I was in 3rd grade, so she was maybe 5. But lots of stories like that, but that's one that I'll never forget, and that's the one I want to share. And thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I get up here and start crying. Fauna, and I am Aunt Bonnie's niece. And all these thoughts are running through my head about fun stories, and something that's come up recently for me is all of my children have birthdays. October 13th, October 29th, September 22nd, December 3rd. And every year, Bonnie would send these beautiful cards of her written words to my children. And this year, they didn't come, so it was hard for me to process that at first. And then to know that all those words that she's ever said to them sing through them every day. And their joy and their smiles. And it fills me with so much love and appreciation for how she was to me in my life and how she passed that on to my children's lives. So every time I see them sing, I see her singing to us, and their sweet stories and their hugs. And I look in their eyes and I see her soft eyes looking into mine. And Bonnie, I love you deeply, and I'm so honored that it's been a lovely journey with you.
I was prompted to tell this story because of Vivian's story. I lived downtown for a long time on 7th Street, and one night I had a peeping Tom. Actually, it happened twice. And I called the police, and they came out that night. I don't remember what happened. I was very shaken. But the next day, Bonnie came to my house. I knew her slightly from church, but I didn't know her like I knew Jackie. And she came, and I was still upset. I felt so unsafe, so exposed. And she sat with me, and I don't know if she was sent there to get information, or if she just came to me. But like Vivian, she made it better just by her being there. And then when I became a practitioner and was in company with her many times, Betty Smith sent out a picture of me and Vivian and Betty and Bonnie and Sue Faria. And I looked at those pictures and I thought, isn't it amazing that nobody got old but me? I thought, how did they do that? But I remember that time. I remember it vividly. And what I remember was not the logistics of that retreat that I was facilitating, but what I remembered was that we were so joined together. We loved each other. We counted on each other. There was no hidden agenda. There was no other thing happening. We came together. And as I thought about that, I thought that was the personification of Bonnie Armstrong. I never saw anything but strength and love and community and being aware and meeting everybody that she met. She met them where they were. I honor you, Bonnie, for that. Thank you.
And that was Maggie Cole. She's also a teacher in our education ministry and a fellow practitioner. She's gonna make it.
I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to make it. Thank you, really.
I see all your faces and I see my sister in your faces in all different ways. And the people that are here from the East Coast, thank you for coming. And those that are the Armstrongs representatives are here today. I really appreciate that. Certainly the practitioners and CSL is here. And my bestest girlfriends and the Johnson clan, and you can see her.
Good timing on that one.
But it's kind of appropriate, actually. There's too much stories to tell about a sister. You know, there's too much little things. We shared the same friggin' bed until she left home. I mean, really, not even twin beds. Who could have done that? But especially she didn't like it so much with me. But anyway, I feel the honor of being her sister and having sisters that now are my sisters just because they're sisters, and feel like in some way there's a clan here and we're all related. I love what she said about all of us being connected. So, and if I can do this, and I don't know that I can do this, but I just keep getting this song, and my voice isn't so great, even though I'm in the choir. Oh, lover of my soul and keeper of my spirit, nothing can separate us. We are one. We are one. We are one. Nothing can separate us. We are one. Thank you.
Now you expect me to talk.
I do.
Thank you. Back to the script. Today we take the time to acknowledge the numerous gifts, the sweet joys, the loving offerings, and the multitude of feelings that we each share about the passing of our lover, friend, sister, mother, grandmother, and fellow writer Bonnie Armstrong. Through our wonderful sharing, indeed. Now.